Hey, what's going on, everybody? Your boy JC, Everyday Thoughts is in the building. Everybody gather around. Tonight's topic is, do some people treat their employer better than their mate? And our special guest with me tonight, Miss Jocelyn Wells. So everybody gather around. Where everybody's had a blessed and favored Tuesday. Yeah. What's going on, Andrea?
Hi, Jonathan.
Hey, what's going on?
How are you today?
I'm good.
Nothing. Just got in from work. So, hey, y'all. Can you see me well enough? Or is it too dark?
Yeah.
You can see me. Okay. All right. Cool. So, what's going on? Our topic today is: do you treat our employers better than we treat our family? Something like that, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So, what you think about it?
What's going on in the call? Yeah, it's a bad echo.
It's a bad echo.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on, let me turn it down. Okay. Is that better? Is that better? Or is it the same? Okay. Well, hang on a second. I'll take care of it. Just a second. Hold on. Just look at my ceiling. Hold on. Huh?
No.
Hold on a second. I'll get it for you. Hang on. Let me get my beats. I forgot I had my beats connected last time we did this, so instead of my phone, so I'll do that instead. So hang on a second. We'll get that taken care of real quick. Hang on a second. I'll be right back.
You said ask her to use headphones. Is better? What's going on, BB? What's going on, Latoya? How's everybody doing tonight?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. We're good now.
It's better? Okay. Let me just
Yeah,
a
we're
second. I'm
good.
coming back.
What's going on, everybody? Everybody gather around. Your boy JC, Miss Jocelyn is in the building tonight.
Jonathan, it's
Uh-oh, you
Joycelyn.
calling to the haircut. Uh-oh, here we go. Oh, got my haircut. Uh-oh.
Nice haircut. Jonathan, it's Joycelyn.
Joycelyn, yeah, my fault.
Joycelyn. Yeah, it has an extra Y in it. So I'm ready. Nice haircut.
Let me check this out. So I can see my fresh cut.
Yeah, show it off.
But yeah, though, tonight's topic is do we treat our employers better than our mate? In a lot of circumstances, I feel like we do. I feel like
I
we
agree.
listen to our employers. We don't talk back. There's no kind of disrespect. For a lot of us, we are very submissive to our bosses. We arrive on time. We do our job. There's no kind of conflict. Then we do have conflict. We do know how to, keep ourselves in a reasonable, professional manner. Unlike sometimes with our mate, we may curse him out. We may disrespectful to him. So, what's your take on it, though?
I totally agree with you. And the funny thing is that the people closest to us are the people that are easiest to abuse. And so a lot of times you are very you can be verbally or mentally emotionally abusive to people close to you, but you don't understand that it's abuse. So it's much easier to be yucky and harmful at home than it is at work because you don't want to get fired. So, and that's the sad part about it because you're so aware of the people around you at work, and that same level of awareness you should have at home, or even a greater level of awareness, because those are the people that you want to love and that that's why you're working to take care of them, right? So I totally agree with that. I think that the work gets a different level of respect and acknowledgement than a home in many cases. I won't say in most, but in many cases.
What's going on, Kiana, Sherman, Bridget? What's going on, Jasmine? But yeah, though, I mean, it's just kind of sad that you put so much energy going to work. respecting your bosses, your coworkers, but coming out to your mate, you still want to disrespect them. Like I said, the one thing about a job, any kind of business you run, they have a standard. They have a business. They know what time you punch in, what time you take your lunch break, what time your other breaks are, what time you clock out, etc. So when it comes down to these personal relationships, you don't really see a lot of people having standards or core values, and they just put up with a lot of nonsense, a lot of BS that they really wouldn't put up with if it was on somebody's clock.
Right. And a lot of times in families, the job is talked about more respectful than the family. So if you think about it, you're raised to be socialized and conditioned to do a job. That goes with the whole school system, but there's not a formal training for having a family, right? You learn how to react in your family, how to respond to your family by what you see. If you see history of domestic abuse, any type, emotionally and verbally are huge, and we don't address those. But if you see that in your home, you think that's what you're supposed to do or what you're supposed to be able to take. I know there are many women who suffer at home. Their husbands are prime candidate at work. They get employee of the month and team leader and all this at work, and then they come home and they treat their spouse like crap, right? But who's to tell them if soon as who's going to address the fact that they're treating their spouse like crap? Because then they're just basically like, you take what I get, I'm making this money. So it's definitely a tough situation. And what do you do about it? How do you fix it?
Yeah, but my own thing is I always judge a person by the character. Like I said, I don't care how many accolades you have, how many employee of the month you have at work. You can't have that
Yep.
same or even more passion, more love towards your mate. Then at that point, you're not really so much a human being, as far as in my eyes, because everything starts at home first for me. You don't
Absolutely.
love home, you don't take care of home, you just work in the house. I don't really care what you do outside of the house. You can have all the praises, you're doing a good job, but the people who know you, at your darkest hours is going to be there for you. Really without that job, they're going to be there in the hospital with you. That
Yep.
job, they can replace you at any
Any
moment,
moment.
any second. So, you
Any
know,
moment. You're
it's,
absolutely right.
priorities are all the way messed up when you think about it.
Yeah, and this is really a good topic because that was me and my ex-husband. I mean, we were married for years, and one of the things I used to always tell him is, Why can't you treat me like you treat the people you work with? Why can't you treat me like your friends?" And he didn't, right? He didn't understand what I was saying, but there was definitely a different level of appreciation for the people outside of our house than the people inside of our house, and that's painful. That's You struggle because you're trying to figure out, well, this is my husband and he's on the phone and he laughs and has a good time with whoever he's on the phone with, and he goes out with people at work, and and on occasions I was with him and he's so human, but then he comes home and he's not human. And what do you do? So if you're aware that it's an issue, what do you do about it? Do the spouses listen to the spouse in the house saying, I don't like the way that I'm being treated? How do you fix it?
Yeah, you know, and also too, you got to be able to do constructive criticism. Because
Hmm.
you get criticized at a job, but guess what? You don't sit up there and be disrespectful to your boss. They put you in the
Oh
office.
no.
You just say like, hey, what can I do better? I talk it up, I chop it up, and you just move forward. And also the level of respect too. You're
Hmm.
not going to be on your phone during the meeting. You're not going to be on your phone when you're giving out, instructions to your employers, to your employees, etc. So it's like, why not have the same kind of respect towards your mate? You know,
Right.
why
Yeah,
sit up there?
and that's it's sad.
Everyone.
No, I was just gonna say that's sad, right? Because you have that conversation, you have this relationship in the house that's supposed to sustain you, but you treat it like it's nothing. But then you have this other place that will replace you, as you said, tomorrow, and you treat it like it's everything, and it's attached to the dollar. That's exactly what it is. It's attached to the fact that that's where the money's coming from. So,
Yeah, that's true. What's going on, Rochelle? What's going on, Tisha, Stacy, Kim, Yolanda? But yeah, though, like I said, going back to the whole respect thing, you're gonna make sure that your phone is off during the meeting. You're gonna make sure that your phone is off during a presentation. But come down to your mate has to keep telling you, oh, he put the phone down, he give you the quality time. Like that's kind of backwards.
Right.
And also too, it's like you'll go hard. Okay, I'll do a double today for my job, but come down to your woman like, hey, I just want to cuddle with you. I want to watch a movie. I want to rub your feet. It's an issue. It's a problem. Like, hey, no, I want to watch the game. No, I want to hang with the boys. Like, no, come on, man. How you gonna
You're
tell me
right.
that, that you gonna get out there and go to a man to this white man's uh, construction and do what he gonna tell you to do?
Right.
You get that man no back talk, but you'll get your wife or your husband or your significant other problems or issues.
Well, that's the value that people have on relationships and on themselves. They kind of see relationships as expendable, right? And that your partner, whether it's your wife or husband or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, that they have to be there. Like they're not going anywhere. You don't give them the same amount of the value because it's not any money associated with it. Not that there's an emotional connection and there's a commitment associated with it. It's almost like the people close to you, the people you treat like crap. Go, leave me alone. I'm doing this. Push them away. Push them away. I'm sure you hear it all the time on your podcast, where people will talk about how relationships fail, how they faltered, how somebody's not getting enough attention or they're being disrespected. You hear it all the time. So, what do you do in those situations that the attention is outside of the house and you're being treated like crap inside the house? And it affects the children. If there are children, the children are affected by it too. So it's not just the partner, it's the whole house.
Okay. Andrea said, I honestly feel there is so much overshareable information as well. For example, all those attention to details not that needed.
Do you mean, Andrea, do you mean in the communication between the partners that the details aren't needed in the conversation between the husband and wife or the spouses? Or and what are you referring to? What definitive details? If you can type that for me. Let me see. So she's just saying that there's so much overshare with information. I wonder if she means in between the relationship or how. We'll see what she says when she responds to that.
But yeah, though, I mean, like I said, you're going back to the whole job. Like I said, the job has our standards, it has value, it has morals, it has a company, a statement, mission statement. If you're not being productive, then you're out. But I feel like a lot of times we need to hold on to stuff that may not be going well. In relationships, we just like to just hold on to stuff, even though sometimes it may not be going anywhere. But also a job, it's like you're so focused, and also too, it's kind of like I say, treating your coworkers a lot better than you do your mate. It's really just backwards to me.
Right. Do you think that wedding vows would constitute kind of a code, an understanding of what the marriage is supposed to be? Do you think that would kind of serve as your mission statement and purpose as a
Yeah,
job would have?
it should, but a lot of times you don't really. Some people they don't honor it.
But they take it. I mean, they do that at work too. They know what the mission is, and they still go to work and mess up, right? But I
Yeah,
mean,
that's true.
so maybe in a marriage, there's at least some guideline of what should happen. But in a relationship that is not labeled or not defined, then I don't think people. Do you think people go into relationships thinking I'm gonna mistreat my partner? I'm gonna mistreat my partner?
No, I don't think it's that. It's just finding how to love that person, how to love your spouse. Everybody has different love languages, like what we said earlier.
Right.
Because you can't love the way that you love the next person or love the way you want that one person to love. You have to love the person that they're really able to be loved.
Right.
That's why it's important to know each other's love language, men and female.
Right. So, but going into a marriage or committed relationship, you've already kind of established what how to love them. I think that's kind of the agreement of being in the relationship. So, do you think that being in the first stages of the relationship, the attention is different, and then it changes where it becomes less inside and more outside? The better attention is giving outside of the house than inside after a while, or what do you think about that?
I think it's more so for for the surface area. It's not really so much trying to focus on the inside, the interior. Like you're trying to focus on the outer, like you're focused on the clothes, the shoes. You know, focus on what's inside the person's heart. I don't feel like a lot of people are kind of like messing up at.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, of course, I know. I totally agree with you on the topic that we do have a tendency to treat people at work better than we do the people closest to us because those are the ones that can be abused. And I use abuse. I say that abused because it's not a reason to placate or pretend that's not what it is. Because whether it's your partner or whether it's your children, if you speak to them or emotionally withdrawn or whatever, that's abuse. And this is a big thing in the community now where there's a lot of conversation about mental health issues because of the disconnects and being raised and people aren't allowed to talk about them. So it leads to a lot of issues later when you are treated poorly inside of your house. That's where you learn to receive your love in there. So when you're treated poorly inside of your house, it's definitely something that affects you for the rest of your life. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's true too. But it's like as a I feel like as a culture, we kind of been conditioned to treat things outside better than we do inside. Like we take okay to have the car, have the money, have the job, but it's like you don't know how much time and effort it takes to maintain that job or maintain that car. So everybody just want to look at the outer appearance and not look at the inner appearance or what it
hmm
takes to run it or what it takes to get by each and every day.
hmm And then you get caught up in working and trying to make the money to maintain it, and it does deplete you what you can give to other people or what you're willing to give, whether it's in the house or not. If you're worried or stressed and you're worried about money and how to make the bills and get the mortgage paid, you're definitely not in a lovey-dovey mood when you come home, regardless. And you definitely want to keep your job because the thought is, I can't get fired because I need this money. So I can't mess around and get fired. I can go home and shut down because I'm home. But here I got to be Johnny on the spot because I got to get that check every couple of weeks or however often you get paid. Yeah. So I mean it's a caveat. It's definitely a caveat trying to figure that out.
Yeah, yeah. And then also too, maybe people they may be overworking, so not really spending that much time with their mate. They may see their mate a few times out the week. Y'all may work different shifts, so it can be challenging. That's why I feel like as far as having a whole bunch of people, all these types of relationships, I'm kind of like how do you have that much time to pour into different people? That's what I
Mhm.
was saying. Think about
Mhm.
how many hours you put on your job, your career. It's like, or you not want to spend the rest of that time that you can with your mate. You know,
Right. Yeah.
instead of trying to split all your lemonades into different cups, different people.
Right.
Why not just focus on that one pitcher of lemonade?
Yep. Absolutely. I agree. I think that's a very valid point because you're right. You don't even have enough time, but you're gonna try to split it up amongst all of these different people, and then neglect the person that you expect to be there for you, that you've promised to take care of. I
So
heard this. Oh, go ahead.
no, so I'm basically saying, so wait, what's like a good way as far as trying to balance everything out? Especially you do have kids, you do have a mate. You really don't want nobody feeling left out.
Well, that's funny because for me, so like even right now, I date someone that lives out of state. So, and that's always a big deal because I work full time and I have my own business. So I could literally work like every hour of the day, but I don't. But I work a lot. I can work about 20 hours a day, right? And for days on end. But the thing that we've kind of established, and he works an awful lot too, but the things that we kind of set aside is we make sure that we get up in the morning. And so he's at where he is, I'm here, and we meditate at the same time. That's our trying to stay connected to each other. We will talk in the morning driving to work. We'll talk in the afternoon. We'll send a text if like we didn't talk all day today, and he sent me a text and was like, "You good?" Because it's like we both get so caught up with work, we may not even think about the other person, because we're so caught up. But that's the little trigger. If I think first and I might send him a text, you good. He'll send me a text, you good. That's just kind of monitoring who we are. I mean, where we are. But when we get together, when we see each other, all of my work is done. I'm not working when I see him. But I'll work like crazy to get to when he's going to be here or when I'm going to be there. And all of my work is done. And his work is done. And he may say, oh, I have a conference call I need to take. It's going to last about 2 hours. And I'm like, okay, well, I've got to do my radio show at this time. So we'll list those things and we respect that work time, but we clear as much of the calendar as we can when we're together just to make sure the other person is taken care of. Whatever it is, it could be watching TV, massaging feet, eating, talking, doing nothing. It doesn't matter. We just make sure we put that time aside because I don't want him to feel like he isn't important to me, and he doesn't want me to feel like I'm not important to him, especially with the distance and how busy we can get. So for me, that's a huge thing. It's just acknowledging that you have a partner attached to what you're doing, to what you've chosen, and you treat them well. That's it. You work on treating your partner well.
Yeah, it's all about priorities too. You know, you have to know that balance. You don't want to be putting too much into one area that you neglect your other responsibility. That's why it's really important to put each other first. You know, like I
Right.
said, I mean, like I said, there's nothing wrong with y'all going out doing your own thing, but at the same time, I gotta have some kind of agreement of what y'all trying to do and you're trying to do with it, you know.
Right. So Makia just asked, is having a long distance relationship hard? So Makia, I think sometimes it is trying and it was difficult for me um because I wanted to see him all the time. You know, when you love somebody, you want to please them, you want to be with them. But the thing that has happened for me is that we constantly maintain some kind of connection. And it took a lot to get to a point of trust. Me, so more so trusting me in the relationship than trusting him in the relationship because I had been single for years and I dated for years. I mean, that's the truth. I dated for years. I did what I want, and I didn't know whether I could be faithful in a long distance relationship. This is me, not him. I didn't know if I could. But his goal, and he told me, I'll never ask you to stop dating. My goal in wanting you and wanting to take care of you is to make sure you have what you need and what you want so that you won't want to date anybody else. So that was a transition for me, seriously. And we just had to we had those frank conversations and there wasn't any limits on who's going to do what and who's going to date this, and it was none of that. The goal was just to make sure that the other person was important and to take away any worry. Like that was I would call and I go to voicemail. Then I would ask him, why did I go to voicemail? He knew that was a trigger for me. So he made sure that if I went to voicemail, he would send a message, I'll call you right back. Or, he'll call me right back. Either way, he just wanted to take away any worry that I had. He's very patient like that. So I probably had more issues than he had. But he was patient through it. So it's well worth it for me because I've been dating people that lived near me and they were horrible. And this one is great. So the long distance is working for us. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the whole thing with long distance. I mean, I used to be in one, so I mean, I do have experience in it. I mean, the toughest thing about it is not being able to see that person. But the thing about you being apart, you do build on your emotional connection because you're not able
Hmm.
to be there. You have to be there emotionally, mentally. So that is something that does grow. You just have to just prioritize your life. Like I know for me, like we used to like before I would go to work. We'll sit down and pray for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So on my lunch break, I would sometimes I would, buy her food or like Uber Eats certain food, bring some food
Right.
to the job. So, like I said, you're still close, but at the same time though, that distance is not really a big issue. If you really love that person, you care for that person,
Absolutely.
you know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is you just have to, be able to be open communication because sometimes you may not be able to see each other because sometimes you like, especially you're working, you may not be able to get those days off. So,
You're right.
you just
Yeah.
have to make, with the time y'all do spend, it do feel crazy, especially getting on a plane, going out there, seeing somebody, and getting on a new adventure. It is something somewhat fulfilling, to see that person. But the only downside about it is that you're in a vacation mode. You know what I'm saying? You're not in that everyday grind. So it's like, oh man. So you go
And
down
it's
there,
yeah.
let's say you got like a whole week off. It's like, you're gonna be doing stuff that you normally wouldn't do on your regular week. So it's like, it's really challenging.
But you're doing stuff that you normally wouldn't do, that you think you normally wouldn't do. But if you're being who you are and your partner is too, then it's probably in line with what you'll do. If it's a concert or a festival or, those type of things, those are things that'll probably be a part of your wheelhouse, right? When you're together. And but you're right, it is really, and it's good. The adventure is pleasurable. It's a good thing. And it's worth it because you'll go 3 weeks and not see each other, and a week and see each other. You're like, this is the best week I ever had. And that's and it may be easier to balance a relationship and work when your partner is away. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not dealing every day face to face with somebody who's asking you for something, who wants you for something. That may be easier while we're talking about the topic. But if you are giving more at your job than you're giving at home, whatever, then you need to rethink that because home is the thing that's going to maintain you. Home will be what keeps you moving forward in your career. And if you're not nurturing your house, you're not going to grow very far in your career either.
Yeah, like I said, you gotta have a plan, vision. You both gotta be on the same team, same accord.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all about communication.
Oh, yeah. Communication
Communication,
is,
trust.
yeah. Yeah. But I mean, and I said, and I put my stuff out there and from my writings and my radio show and even my YouTube channel, I'm not afraid to talk about the things that have halted me, that puts me in a bad position that I had to heal from and grow from. So I don't have a problem putting mine out there. So I know for me in the relationship, I was more worried about me. Like, can I do this? Will I go on a date with someone else? Can I be honest about that thing? That was big for me. But he knew that and he was like, you do whatever you want to do. My job is to make sure that you don't want to. So it wasn't just me doing it. He felt an active role in it too. He felt active in trying to make sure that he was giving me what I needed. And that's a big thought process on it because people want to put you in a box and say, don't do this, not thinking how you're programmed to do those things. Well, how do you help me not to do those things? If that's going to be detrimental to me or to us, what are you going to do? What can you do to help me with this? But people don't like to have those conversations either.
Yeah,
They
I
just
hear
want,
you. Yeah, you don't like the hard conversation, but it's something that is needed. Yeah, because going back to the subject about do we treat our employer better than our mates? I say it's tricky. It's tricky because this is a place that you be out a lot of hours, a lot of energy. You already do push in, but like I said, y'all both got to be on the same accord. There's no need to put smiles on everybody at work and come home and be a peasant to your husband or wife or girlfriend.
yeah.
I mean, it just don't make any sense. Be that same dude. You should be more energetic to see your mate come home, spend time with them, and there should be no kind of hassle. Shouldn't feel like you sacrifice. Everything should just come mutual.
Right. Do you think that that's why a lot of those workplace relationships start when people spend so much time at work with people and
Yeah, and also
they
too,
work
yeah,
more
yeah, there
together?
are the work husbands, work wives, and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
My whole thing
And
is, I mean, if anything is going on this within the home, you never really want to branch out to your coworkers. They may not have your best interest. Kind of just want to go there and work. It's okay to socialize, but at the end of the day, you're there to make money. You're not really there to make friends. So you just
yeah.
gotta be cautious of whoever you if you have an issue with your mate, not to really try to spread it with nobody at work and stuff.
Yeah, you're right. But a lot of times there are those workplace relationships that do take place and they turn into something more, and that in itself is hard because what's the rule of thumb is you don't eat and poop in the same place, right? So then you mess around and lose your job because of a situation, and then that's something else that's detrimental to your house. So there's definitely a lot of grown up um, steps that have very mature steps that have to take place in the workplace to make sure you're safe and to protect your family and your relationship. So that's always very tricky.
Yeah, that too. I mean, like I said, you gotta be cautious of what you say, or if they do have the sexual harassment, so you do have to be cautious of, different types of jokes. So, you
Hmm.
gotta be this is gonna be on your best behavior. Good aware. Like I said,
Yeah.
you can be here today, gone tomorrow, but just be cautious of whatever you're doing at work, and then same thing at home too. But like I said, you gotta have those kind of standards in your own household, your rules too. So you don't have any kind of boundaries, then y'all free to do whatever. But there's always have to be some kind of mediator to
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 get you
mediate
in
the situation. Yeah,
hmm
everybody is like a judge, there's principals. He said always got to be some kind of mediator to make sure everything is kept in place.
Right. What do you think about the person that's being mistreated or the person that's being neglected? What suggestions would you have for them being in that situation?
I mean, you just gotta talk to the person. They feel they're not getting their needs met. Just like the job, like you're not really performing well. You can always, just try to see what can I do to do better. How can if I'm neglected, how can I make you feel better? Whether or not
Yeah.
paying you enough attention, whether or not getting your needs met. Like, what do I need to do to make sure you feel satisfied, you feel safe, secure? You know, and and I have to be able to take criticism. You have to be able to give it, and it doesn't really feel like it's attacking, but it's more in a loving manner, not like like a abusive type of situation. It's more like I'm trying to get you where you need to be at. So I may say stuff out of line, but it's only for your good. It's only for your good health.
Right. I have talked to this lady one time, this older lady, who was telling me they had been married for years, and she was saying that they sit down every 3 or 4 months and talk about their marriage. It's kind of, and I was like, oh, like a State of the Union, and she was like, exactly like a State of the Union. That for years they would sit down every 3 or 4 months and just talk about what's been going on, and not this is in addition to their regular interactions, but just to sit down and say, do you think the marriage is going well or not? And she said, surprisingly, it's a couple times that they were both like, you know what, I'm not happy. This isn't going well for me. But because they were so aware of the other person and knowing that there's an expectation that they're giving to the marriage to keep the marriage, like they own the marriage, it's theirs. That she said that's probably what kept them married for years because of those conversations. And that would be a novel idea to think, oh, every little while we're going to sit down and talk about what's going on in our marriage. And that would be a great platform to open up. I'm unhappy, or this happened and I didn't like it, to have those tough conversations. So maybe that's something people could try to just keep their marriage on track instead of expecting it just to stay on track. They've got to keep it on track.
Yeah, what's going on, Leslie, Veronica, Miss Queen, Gabriella, Livia, Erica? Yeah, though, I mean, there's nothing wrong with those powwows. Seeing inviting on each other, like what are some things I did good, what are some things I need to improve on. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, hey, you could have, done a little bit better communicating. You could have done more, spend more time with me. You could have, you know, we could have got some more, gifts. Could have got some more ideas and stuff. That's what I'm saying. It's just we take initiative as far as our jobs having more, business plans, but it comes down to like, setting dates. We kind of like, what? Kind of want the woman to kind of pick up the pace, but it's like they're supposed to be the man, supposed to be leading her, making the interaction. Hey, well, let's go here, let's go there. But
Hmm.
sometimes that word you can kind of be like, hey, let's do this, let's do that.
Right.
But sometimes it's kind of tough for some women to kind of translate that to a woman.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think women instinctively. I think me, and I'm a very independent person. I move on my own like all the time. So there has to be a very um, a man who's aware of himself to be in a leadership position of me, because I move so fluid by myself anywhere. And so women want that, and not lead like I can't have ideas. Of course I have ideas and I have stuff that I want to do, but women want to be led. It has to be intuitive. It's not a you do this because I said it or I'm
No,
leading
not
you here.
like
It has to be,
yeah.
yeah, it has to be, the man
Leadership
has
has
to
to
be
work
able to
together.
move and allow her to follow, right? He has to make a move to change the tide to follow him. He's just not telling you to do it, right? So, and people don't function like that. That's not how relationships work. But so you know you have to be aware of yourself as a person, you and your job, and you have to be aware of yourself as a partner, contributing partner in a relationship, and how important it is to take care of the people around you who love you and who you want to love you back, right? Those are things that we all have to just be aware of. We can't afford to mistreat people we've made a commitment to. Because my thing is, if I'm in a relationship with you and you're mistreating me, I'm in the wrong relationship. That to me, I'm like, oh, I'm in the wrong place, because I'm not gonna be in a relationship. I don't get to suffer at the hands of somebody else because they're preoccupied somewhere else. That's unhealthy, and I'm not putting myself. And yes, you're right, Nina. Men have to be ready. That's why. That's when I said they have to be. It has to be intuitive. Absolutely. But I'm not putting myself in a situation to be mistreated because somebody else is caught up somewhere else. That's the easiest way for me to exit. I'm not sticking it out. I'm not going to stay around and continue to let you kick the crap out of me and treat me like crap because you're busy at work and you can, treat them better. So that's the main thing I think that people have to be aware of. If you're in a relationship and you're being mistreated and you've talked to your partner about it and they're not responding in a way that says, I'm going to treat you better, not on their own, getting some help, getting some counseling, a mediator, like you suggested. If they're not doing those things, they're not going to get any better. They're going to continue to mistreat you. Point blank, that's it. So if you feel like you're being mistreated somewhere, then you're being given, that's your worth that they're giving you. I'm going to treat you like crap, and I'll continue to treat you like crap. And you can stay for 20 years, and they'll continue to treat you like crap. So,
Yeah.
and men have to remember that too. Like, that's not leadership. You're destroying a whole person. You're destroying the soul of a person.
Yeah. What's going on, Stephanie? What's going on, Nina? But yeah, though, like I said, you get in a relationship where it's being abusive, you're being mentally abused, physically abused, emotionally abused, then that's just somewhere you just don't need to be in. And like I said, they're not gonna sit there active and cut up at work, so I really shouldn't have to sit here and baby you and pet you and go through your phone. I shouldn't have to do all that. When you be in a
Who has
relationship,
time
you
for
don't
that?
have to do all that. You don't have to do all that.
Who has time for that, right? That you're gonna sit up and go through somebody's. If I even think I have to go through somebody's phone, I'm done. It's a wrap for me. Like, I'm not doing anything. If I'm second guessing what's going on, I'm already in a bad place because I have to feel comfortable in it. But a lot of times people aren't aware enough of themselves to trust their gut. They want somebody to tell them something different. My gut tells me what I need to know. I make decisions all day by myself about me and my safety. I'm not going to start second guessing it when it comes to somebody else. It doesn't happen like that. So if you're in a situation and you're being mistreated and you're thinking, am I being mistreated? You are. If you're questioning that, because when you're treated well, it feels good. There's no question. You're smiling and happy. When you're treated like crap because you're thinking about it. Is that wrong? Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, man, you not being not putting a priority. Then, like I said, her body may be there, but her mind will be somewhere else, missing for that, longing for that. If he keep telling you over and over again, I need quality time, need quality time, or I need to feel reassured, I need whatever she needs, and you don't keep doing it, and she finds somebody else, you can't get mad at her. She done told you. She put it on the table.
Absolutely.
You either gonna accept or you're not. You know, your boss ain't gonna keep
Right.
telling you over and over again to get something done over and over again. No, they're gonna replace you. So you know how you get mad at the girl, but you're not gonna get mad at your employer. They gonna make sure you come to work, do what you gotta do. But you know, don't be no man. You gotta keep telling the man over and over to do. Like he ain't just child, ain't your dependent. Like you got
That's
time for
right.
it. You ain't got time to
Right.
raise no grown man.
Do you think there's a correlation between someone doing well at work and treating their home good and someone doing poorly at work and treating their home poorly? Or do you just think it just happens?
I think it all depends on the individuals, but I do feel like if you are, you know, taking care of home, you are feeling good at work, taking care of business at work, um, then I think everything would just gel together. You know,
Right.
you want everything to really be smooth, concrete. You know, you don't want to be treating your house well, and then at work you're kind of slipping the ball, but you know, vice versa, you're slipping the ball at work, but you're taking care of, you know, you're doing great at work and all these periods at work, and then you're slacking at home. But you just want to be balanced throughout, though.
Right. I think that there, and you said this earlier, I think that the level of importance of the house that you build has to exceed the level of importance of your job. You know what I'm like? Your home is your home. Your home is always going to be there from your day one at work until your day at retirement. Your home is where you're growing. You know what I'm saying? Your home is your place of rest. And so there has to be there already has to be a sense of the importance of home before you even get it or even get a job, right? It doesn't that doesn't that like that has to be important, like off the rip, your home, right? Your wife, your children, your husband. That has to be the one that's the most important thing that you have happening your whole life. So how do men or women, how do they come up with that understanding that my home has to be the most important thing for me?
I mean, everybody core value is different. Some people feel like this money, making money is the end all. Some people they value family, so it all depends on what's important to you and what's your core value. You know.
You think that, but that starts at home in the way that you're raised.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because some
Okay.
people it's like taking care of kids. Some people just feel like just sending them a check is taking care of kids when you know they need a lot more stuff than just financially. You got emotionally be there, physically be there. Some people feel like parenting is just financially. So, you know, it all depends on what you believe your beliefs are. You know, so you know,
Oh,
Jolly said home is a safe haven from the outside world. Yeah, that's true.
yeah. And then, I mean, so you feel like that your home is a safe haven from the outside world, and you want to know that, but you're not. If it's your safe haven and you're not protecting it, if you're not doing anything to keep it safe, then it almost turns into your own prison, right? And I use this when I'm talking and counseling with women and about relationships with men, and I tell them you don't let men come into your house, and they're like, well, he doesn't have this or he doesn't. And I'm like, but you bring a man into your house and you have his energy in your house. You're paying all the bills in your house, and then he's not there anymore, and you've created your own prison to live in, right? You're literally paying for a place that's holding you hostage or that you feel poorly in. So if you're working and you are doing great at work, but you're treating your home bad, you're not going to feel love and compassion and safe in your house, right?
Yeah.
You're going to feel like this doesn't feel good to me. So I guess knowing or exploring your core values and what that looks like, your home can or cannot be a safe haven. It all depends on what you put into it to make it feel that way. This
Yeah.
is a very interesting topic.
Yeah, because sometimes it's tough. You got people at work. It's kind of like, how do you like prioritize your wife? Sometimes you're working like 12, 13 hours a day. So like, how much time do you really have time to like spend with your wife, your kids, etc. You know, and a lot
Hmm.
of brothers they really don't know how to like balance it. They just feel like they're just on like a work mentality, work, 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 work. You know, but it's like, do you have time to take vacation? Do you have time to take this out family? That's like what's important. You know, there's nothing wrong with
Right.
working, but you always have to be let's have a balance. You know.
Right. Do you think that men use working as an escape from the responsibility of maintaining a home?
Yeah, yeah, because some people feel like they just want to work. They just feel like, oh,
Yeah.
if they're working, like they're working, paying bills, they're doing something. So, which is important, but you still have to work. You still have to, tend to your needs and worry about your health and stuff, etc. But sometimes you'll go hard for your job, and you need to go to the doctor. Sometimes you won't take time out to focus on what's important. But you're so consumed with working and stuff.
What would you tell if a woman came to you and asked you about someone she was dating and he works a lot and he doesn't have any time? What would you tell her about what would possibly be expected of her in a relationship with someone who works so much? What
I
would
mean,
that look
if he works so much, you have to make sure he takes time for you. There are the breaks. There's when you do a lunch break, you do that 15-minute breaks. You have to make sure that y'all, sacrifice as far as like, what's he do like after work? What's he do before work? Does he work in the afternoon? Does he work at night?
like? Right.
There's always something you can do as far as maybe 20, 30 minutes before work or during lunch break. There's always something you can do to manifest your time and just using the work as an excuse. That's just BS to me. You think about it.
Right. I think so because I feel like men absolutely make time for things that they want.
Yeah.
Right. So, and it, I mean, and maybe it could be in a situation where they're not quite ready to be necessarily in a relationship. They just want to have access to someone. And those are situations that require a level of honesty. Because women, a single man with no kids, a woman is all over him like white on rice, and it's going to be my husband. But men may not be ready for that. And there's a level of honesty that, I mean, there's a level of honesty that needs to go with all of it. Like, you know what? I work a lot. I enjoy making money. I really don't have a lot of time. So I can tell you a couple times a month we'll get to hang out. That's honest and it's upfront, and then it allows the woman to decide if that's okay. For me, that's a big deal. Being honest about the situation, it's easier to handle that than to kind of look at the subterfuge or deception. It's kind of like, oh, trying to figure it out. So I think that's probably a big deal with people going into relationships, talking about where they are and what they want instead of, you know, trying to answer to something that you didn't even want to be a part of.
Yeah, I mean that's why I would say your core values and like whatever you want. Like you wanna do a date casually, then you're not expecting that person to pick up the phone. Y'all just talk here and there. Then okay, but you gotta set the boundary like because we're not gonna be talking every day. We're just talking every other day, or I talk when I'm trying to see you. I make plans then, but when you're in a relationship, y'all exclusively, y'all should be trying to reach out a little bit more. And, especially y'all both work, y'all both work often hours, then always something you can do to manifest that situation.
Absolutely. And I think that's important. One of the things that they were talking about on the radio this morning is that people are really in relate long distance relationships using the technology as the thing that keeps them together. Skype, FaceTime. Said they mentioned even people would go to the same restaurant in different cities and be on FaceTime like they're having dinner together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the technology now is amazing compared to 20 years ago when you were writing letters and trying to get pictures printed and send them. So now it's way more ways to get connected. And you're right. Take your lunch break at the same time, have lunch together. You said you guys would pray or you make plans to see each other. And, we do the same thing. And I think that's probably huge in trying to balance someone who works. And if you know that you work a lot of hours, then plan something to include your spouse or your partner. That way there's something to look forward to and it closes the gap of when it's going to happen,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, like it's like for example, like you trying to meet somebody long distance, like, hey, let's go to a basketball game, let's go to a baseball game, let's go do a couple massages, just
Yeah.
something that y'all can really look forward to. Is y'all really just bonding as a couple.
Yes. And I was just looking at this comment that Nina Jackson said. Her husband's a truck driver, and in the beginning he was gone at like 3 weeks at a time, and it didn't bother her. So I mean, that's even I mean, even that is different. I mean, that's difficult in itself too. But knowing that he's a truck driver and working 3 weeks at a time, it also meant he's probably going to come home and be there for like a week or at least a few days. And there's planning that goes along with being, with that. And planning for women, men listening, planning is huge for women. Like, we love something to look forward to. We love that. So if you know you're working 6 days, I'm working 6 days. All you have to do is say, well, I know I've got to be working a lot, and on Tuesday we're gonna go see such and such and such, or we're gonna go to dinner. It don't even matter you working all those days because there's something to look forward for Tuesday. That's something to look forward for the next thing, and that's huge with women planning because it means that you are now a part of his calendar and he's looking forward to being with you too. That's a big deal, especially when somebody's working a lot. That's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I said, I mean, I think is if you can talk about you busy all the time, you on Facebook, you on Instagram, you on YouTube, you giving all the
Yeah.
attention to other people, it's like that's what people already question you. Like, are you really that busy? Am I really her priority? And you really don't want her or him to feel like they're not priority to you. Because I understand you got to work, but you always got to feel first, you got to feel like she's valued, she's appreciated, and she's loved, and she's gonna be taken care of. You know?
Yep. Yeah. And one of the things for me, I'm not going to tell, I'm not telling my husband I'm busy. I can be up to my eyeballs at work. I'm not telling my husband I'm busy because my husband knows that I work. And if he calls me during the day, during my work hours, you know what that means? He needs me. He needs something. So I'm going to be like, hey, honey, what's up? And he'll be like, oh, I was whatever, whatever, whatever. And I don't have a husband. I'm just supposing. I was whatever, whatever. But I'm not telling my husband that I'm busy because I don't want to be too busy for him. And on the flip side, he's not going to tell me he's busy. He may say he's having a busy day at work, but that doesn't mean he's busy, too busy for me. Even those the use of words, tweaking the use of the words shows value in your relationship. Because the guy I'm dating, he could be busy, and I'm like, hey, you want to chat? He'll be like, yeah, let's chat. He's like, I'm never too busy for you. What's up? And it might be a quick call, or I think yesterday we sat on the phone. We sat on the phone for an hour and we were barely saying anything, but we were connected to each other. Hi. Oh, it's my grandbaby. Hang on a second. Jasmine, I'm on a podcast.
What's going on,
I'm on a,
Scorpio? What's going on,
I'm
Nina?
on a podcast. Can you come get Ari? Okay. She's like Grammy.
Come on, Peppa.
I'm on Facebook Live. So that's one of the things that's important is tweaking the language so that your partner knows that you're important in their life. All right. So that, and that's important to me. Don't tell if somebody tells me they're busy, I'm like I'm not interested anymore.
Yeah, like I said, especially being a man, you want to exercise your time, use your break time, use your lunch time, and do something. Like I said, whatever kind of videos she likes, kind of magazines she likes to read, just try to, send something to her. That way she can be penetrated throughout the mind until y'all see each other at night. A lot of times
Hmm.
you want to work all day, not give any kind of attention to her, expect her to be up in arms at night. Like it don't really work that way.
It's not gonna happen.
You gotta
It's not.
penetrate her throughout the day, so we get at nighttime she's good.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I always say that and it's funny because it's like in a relationship you're in a constant stage of lovemaking, like not the physical act but just the emotional act of lovemaking all the time, that by the time you see each other you're like, that's what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting to see you. But it never ends. It's a constant state of loving each other. And that's where a lot of times we fall short because we feel like we can turn it on and off. And it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, that's true
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Nina said your mate is always busy to you. He he's already done with you already. Yeah, I mean you're not putting your
Yeah.
prioritize. Especially you may work a lot, but hey, I'm making up at 8. Let's go out here at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock.
Hmm. You're absolutely
take
right.
the initiative, make plans. Women don't want to always be the one making plans, making the dates. She wants to be surprised.
Yeah, and it could
Or
just
even,
be
or
any. I
even, or
mean,
even, or even. My bad. You can go on.
no, go. I'm listening.
Like even let's just say you go off and she's working all day. You can get stuff ready. You can get y'all have kids. Make sure the kids are make sure they watch. Make sure they take care of. Make sure they got their schoolwork done. You can just make a bath ready for her. Get her massage ready. And get um get flowers. Get a letter or a poem, something that she knows that you've been thinking about her. That when she gets home, she don't have nothing to do. You already got something ready for her, and she can just relax. Cause you've been
Right,
home all day long. It's like use that time to prep for her. You know,
right,
it's like
right.
you
And it
prep
and it
for
doesn't
like going.
and it doesn't require a lot. It won't require a lot of effort if that's the person that you want. You know what I'm saying? If this is you're anxiously awaiting the arrival of this person, you want to share with them, you want to be with them, you want to touch them, you want to kiss them, you want to just release your day and walk through the door and just walk into that safe haven that's filled with love. It doesn't require a lot, and it doesn't require a lot of money because we women, I know me, I want the attention of you. I want your attention. I want your time. I want your words. That's what I want. So, and it's just I don't know. It's such a and it probably goes back to the love languages. What is your partner capable of? Get to know your partner before you marry him, before you enter a committed relationship with them. Because if you can't love them the way they require to be loved, you're not gonna love them. It's not gonna happen. They're gonna be every time you do something, they're gonna be unhappy.
Yeah, candles too. Now you gotta get the candles lit too.
Yeah, got to get the candles. That's right.
Yeah.
Justin says, y'all make it sound so simple when it's really not. Yeah, it is pretty simple,
It,
Justin.
it, it's
We're,
it's simple when you care for that person, you love for that person, but when you're not in love with that person, you just deal with them, just to deal with them. Yeah, it's gonna be a hustle. Y'all are fighting, y'all arguing. Yeah, it is gonna be a struggle, but you ultimately trying to get somewhere, and it's not gonna be hard to be submissive towards one another and cater to each other's needs.
yep. And that's the thing is like when you don't have to fight with somebody about loving you or fight with them about loving them. Like that's not what it is. And people mistake that fighting for a part of the relationship that it has to be. Well, what are we fighting for? The goal is we're fighting for each other. I want you, you want me. So our fight is to keep us together, not to tear us apart, right? So, that's tricky because especially when you're young and in your relationships, you fight about all kinds of stuff. Now, I'm almost 50. I'm not fighting. If it's not going to kill me, I'm not fighting about it. I'm not. I'm just like whatever. That's cool. That's my rule. If it ain't gonna kill me, whatever. Some things are important to me, and I'll say, no, I really would like to do this. That's important to me. And he'll be more than likely like, oh, okay, well, we'll do that. But if it's something he wants to do, go play golf on Sunday morning, knock yourself out, go play golf. I'm not arguing with that because that's what you love. Do your thing. If it's a Sunday morning that I want something that's not golf, I'll say, hey, this is happening. I really would like to do it. And more than likely, we're going to do it. Those are those opportunities to you. Everything can't be the most important thing for you. The things that are important, and the other stuff just may not even matter. So, but it's not worth the fight when it's a person that you love. You're loving them. You're not fighting them. That's a
Yeah,
waste of energy.
y'all that fighting, arguing, going back and forth. Nah, I ain't for all that. Like I said, you already got your time is already so much limited. So when y'all do, have that time together, you do want it to be precious. You want to be sacred.
Oh, Justin, that comment was in for Jonathan. That wasn't for your comment. Justin was like, I wasn't talking about fighting. No, no, yours was about the planning, right? So planning, it's pretty simple. It's still pretty simple. It doesn't have to be difficult. As a matter of fact, you can send me an email or contact me on social media. I can help you plan some stuff if you like. I've done that for guys to help them plan some events and activities for their spouses or partners just because they're at a loss for what to do. So, Justin, find me on social media. I'll certainly help you plan some stuff. That's not a problem.
Yeah, but that's why it comes down to the love language. That way you know what she is, what she's about. You know what she likes. You study her, and then you would kind of have an idea of what she like, what she's into. You know,
Right.
when you're playing video game, you study your opponent, you study kind of matchup you in, but it comes down to your lady, you want to study her, you want to see what her likes or dislikes are. Like that's backwards.
Do you think that men just kind of try to treat all women the same, just as a woman?
You said what?
Do you think men just treat all women the same, just as a woman, not in particular to who she is?
I think some do too. I mean, you see the courtship, guys going out on dates, you usually see a lot of men kind of like resentment just because of the last chick or a few women they've been with in the
Mhm.
past. So it's like, why bother? But you gotta realize that was that one situation. You can't paint the picture for all women and vice versa for the men too. You know,
Right. Yeah. Right.
and
Right. Right.
that situation, and you really shouldn't be bitter on. You're like, you know what? I learned that was a messed up chick. That was a messed up dude. I dealt with. But at the same time, though, what I learned from the situation, and that's not how everybody is, and I just have to, understand that that's just that one situation, and not to carry that on to the next person and carry my
Right.
own baggage to somebody else.
Yeah, I agree with that. You're right about that. So yeah, that's difficult too. I think that the key thing is getting to know that person, getting to know them, observing them, learning them, right? Before you're entering a relationship, because it may not even be good. That person may not be good for you. There was a comment on, you may have seen this on Facebook, where this guy wanted to buy a house and his girlfriend didn't. Did you see that post? The
Nah,
guy was saving to buy a house. The girlfriend didn't want to buy a house because she didn't want the responsibility of a house. They lived together, split the bills. She found out that he had been saving money, and then she's mad that he's saving money and not giving the money to her. That he could have been paying all of their bills. So to me, that's not a conversation. If you want to buy a house and your partner doesn't want to buy a house, guess what? That's a wrap. Like those aren't even things that work past. Like that's not even a conversation to be had. But that's where we seem to make it difficult because we feel like we're going to convince the other person to do what we want to do. Don't do it. I mean, that's not how that works. And when you run into those situations, you have to release yourself from it. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself stumbling and stuck trying to get somebody else to move. And that's damaging to your core self. That's damaging to you. So, it is really important to get to know who you're dating
all
and
right.
to love yourself.
Yeah,
Nina
love
said
yourself.
that.
Need to say people need to learn how to love themselves firsthand before they go out trying to love someone else. If not, you end up compromising yourself in your value just to be with anyone. Yeah, like I
Yeah.
said, you gotta know your standards and your negotiable, your non-negotiable, what you're gonna put up with, you're not gonna put up with. And when you're compromising, just try to be at an even grade because what you may know, you may be in strength and what you may be weak in, and vice versa. So it's all about teamwork, working together because I don't know everything, you don't know everything, but how can we meet
Right.
at even ground so we can try to power together?
Hmm. Yeah. You don't know and I don't know, but together we can figure it out. We're
Yeah, don't,
definitely
and
not
don't,
going
and
to
don't,
figure
and
it out
don't,
working
don't,
together.
don't take it as an attack. It just means that she's stronger than you in here. Okay, cool, you got this. That
Right.
was a good idea. I give you
Yeah.
props, I give you kudos.
And and that goes along with even just respecting the other person as an individual
That's first and foremost.
are, or situations that come up. Hands down, give it to them. Okay. Hands down, let them do that part. Let them talk you through it. How did it happen? How did it work? But that's just, I mean, that goes with just the respect of being in a relationship. What your partner do, what they're capable of. Yeah.
All right. Cynthia said the more you actually pay attention to your partner, the easier it will be to plan. It takes time, but it does become pretty pretty simple once you become pretty simple. Actually learn that person likes and dislikes. Yeah, once you learn that person, study that person, you know ins and outs. And if you don't know that, then you don't care to learn what they like, what they dislike, then you're in the wrong situation.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
You know,
So
if that person
that's
still
good.
struggling, they still got that single, and y'all supposed to be a team, then you on the wrong team. You need to resign from the position because you're not adding to her life and vice versa. You're not adding to his life.
But then people are afraid to
You
walk
might
away
well,
from
like I said, you might
relationships.
well,
Hmm?
yeah. Like I said you might well turn on your pink slip right now, just resign because you're not benefiting that person. You can't kind of compromise. You got an argument, go back, or you're not trying to hear from that other person. Then you just need to resign and go somewhere else to do you because y'all supposed to be building together. You don't need to be building one side on bricks and the other side on quicksand. You don't want that.
Right.
I want to be on the
But
same
that's
even
people
plane.
struggle. People struggle with walking away from relationships. Why is that? People will stay in relationships that are unfulfilling for years. I get, but you know what? People stay at jobs that are unfulfilling for years too.
Yeah.
So
True. Yeah.
what's the holdup to walk away from it?
But you just used to it. You just don't want nothing new. You're used to the drama around. You're used to the planning, and you just feel like you're just home. You don't want to better yourself. So you say, okay, I'm not happy here. Let me find something I want to do, or find another position, another area, another department I can be working on. But instead of doing that, you just want to sit there complaining. You're not getting nowhere.
Right.
Why are you sitting there complaining for?
Yeah, you know
Try to
that,
change the
especially
situation.
when people stay in those yucky relationships for years and jobs for years, they are struggling and they don't want to leave. Yep, complacency. And you don't that's I don't know. To me that's mind-boggling to do for to think of people doing that because I it's so crazy because I think I'm supposed to be happy. Like everything that I do all the time, I feel like should bring me pleasure. So that's my intention. It's going to bring me pleasure, whatever I do. Now, sometimes it doesn't, but my intention is pleasure every time I do something.
Crystal said
So,
also like what he mentioned, also like what was mentioned, if he likes golf, take the initiative to go golfing with a person, doing things other person is passionate about, helps to solidify a relationship. Yeah, that's true.
absolutely. And you know what, Cynthia? The funny thing is, so he has a set of golf clubs here that he takes because he plays golf when he comes here sometimes. Because he's met some people to play golf with, and I take his clubs to get them relined and make sure he has all the stuff that he needs. So even investing in that, he knows that I'm a part of it. And I don't really go to the golf course and ride around with him because guys have their guy talk and stuff, but I will and I have. But I try to stay involved in his activities like he tries to stay involved in mine. My If I'm doing a reading from my books, he'll come with me to the readings from my books. If I'm meeting with a client, he may come where I am but not be a part of the meeting. He tunes into my radio show to let me know what happened, how did the sound, where was the sound coming from this, and da 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 da. He pays attention to all of that. But that's us just being on the outside, on the perimeter, looking at the passion and the pleasure of the other person. Make sure that they love part of what they love.
Hold on, you're freezing.
Oh, am I now?
Yeah, you're good now. Yeah, but yeah, like that was a good point though. You want to do
So yeah,
stuff that your partner wants to do. So, I don't see nothing wrong with that.
okay.
And I would just try to do something new. You don't want to do the same thing over and over again, the same routine. You want to mix it up and try something new. Try different restaurants. Try different events. Try to plan something new. You don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. They could get tired. They could get boring. At a certain
Yeah.
at a certain group.
Yeah, and I mean, but I think that's important when you are aware of somebody else and they have something they love and you want to be a part of it. And that's and you're open to trying new things. Even if it comes down, the one question guys always talk about is like, what do you want to eat? And there's supposed to be this whole big deal with
You're
women not
supposed to
knowing what they
meet
want to
you.
eat.
Hey, let's go here. Let's go there. Hey, I researched this. Let's go here. Let's go there.
There's a new restaurant. I haven't been, you haven't been. We're both going to try it. There's just kind of that kind of thing to say
But, but,
where
but,
it's
but, but, but to like a lot of guys' defense is A lot of guys really can care less where the place is as long as spending time with you. But at the same time, you still want to take that initiative and be like, hey, let's go here. I researched a fish place, a new taco place. You know, just do something new. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm guilty to that to a certain degree. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing.
I'm just so like that. That's why it's my personality. But at the same time, though, it is good to have that initiative, though. So, I am guilty of that.
Yeah. It's easy because you're like, if she's pleased, then I'm pleased. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
And then a lot of times the women, yep, then the women are like, it doesn't matter. The women are, I don't know, because we have like a million thoughts a minute, so we can want anything. So we like a lot of times to be kind of said, we're gonna go here, and then you're like, oh, okay, that's it. But men are like, well, I want to make sure she's happy, so let me just let her tell me. It's easier for her to tell me what she wants, for me to kind of step out on the limb at what she may want, right? So it's just easier that way. But those are all, everything that we've talked about tonight is definitely a great way for someone to spend more time in their house, loving their mate and being attentive to their mate, even if they are consumed at work. But when you get off work, you want to be able to let that go and come home and just enjoy the pleasure of your safe haven, of your house, of your partner, whether you're. Mm-hmm.
I would say, well, sometimes a lot of people they still have work on the mind, still work on the brain. Even when they get home, they're still thinking about it. So, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you may, we all kind of get caught up, but you really have to, I think once you can shift from work being the priority to home being the priority, that's going to be an easier shift to make, right? That'll be an easier shift to make. And you want the pleasure of your partner. You want to feel them next to you and touch them and smell them and love on them. You want that pleasure outweighs so much. That outweighs anything at work. You're like, yes, I'm with my baby. Forget that job. I'll be back tomorrow. Like, this is my time. But we have to make sure that we cultivate that in the relationship. It has to be something that you work on all the time and not just think it stays there. So.
But yeah, I gotta wrap it up though.
Okay.
No, I appreciate you joining me tonight. Tell everybody about your radio show and all that good stuff.
Oh, yeah. So my radio show is Joy Exposed. When Joy is exposed, everything just feels better. I'm on Facebook Live on Thursdays at 9:30. And I'm on Facebook Live at 9:30 on Thursdays. It's an adult show. I'm an author. Yep, just finished my third one. I just finished my first novel, my third book, and I have another one that I'm almost finished with. So I just did an awesome reading in Oakland this past weekend. It was phenomenal. So I do all kinds of stuff. Just if you find me on Facebook or Instagram at Joycelyn Wells, I would be more than happy to converse with you about any of these things. And Cynthia just said that just literally made me smile. Absolutely. When you think about the pleasure, it always brings a smile to our face. So, Jonathan, thank you for having me again. I look forward to the next time.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have a good one. Anybody want to join me, debate, discussion, let me know. Okay? Hope for
everybody.
Appreciate everybody tuning in. Everybody tuning in, y'all, check me on YouTube and check Joycelyn out. Thank everybody tuning in. I'll be back on about 30 minutes from now. I got another topic, so we're going to have a 3. I got another topic. I'm doing 4 in total today, so I got one more 30 minutes, so y'all check back in about 30 minutes. Going to chop it up. So, y'all check me on YouTube. So, y'all chop it up. Everybody have a blessed night. I'm out. Peace.